26% of my patients were post-operative regretters. So the trajectory that I saw as a pattern, which always seemed to be the case with the male transsexuals, was you start off with this autistic boy, and he doesn't know he's autistic, but he feels that he's different from other people. And he's aware that he feels different from other people. And he's frustrated by that. He doesn't know why. And then he searches for why am I different? And then he's introduced to the idea of transsexualism or transgenderism, and he has this hypothesis of this eureka moment of this must be it. This is why I'm not like everyone else. And the thing about autistic minds are there's no flexibility. They're very concrete, rigid. Once they get an idea, they're right, and you have to agree with them, otherwise have an autistic meltdown. And that's what you saw. And so they had this trans solution, which they think this is I'm going to be the woman that I should be. And then so there's a period of trans idealism. And then they have the sex change. And then there's a period of transgender euphoria. Wow, I'm this wonderful woman I always should have been. And then depending on the degree of autism, they would either carry on being happy, or if they weren't that autistic, they'd have this realization that, oh, maybe I'm not a woman. And their sense of inauthenticity of their self would return again full circle.
Did you know that in the UK, people are being arrested for what they post online? That's why I use today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN, your shield against the creeping control over your digital life. With Surfshark, your online activity is completely hidden. No one, not your internet provider, hackers, or even governments, can track what you do online. Your IP address, disguised. Your location, masked. And does the internet feel like it's missing half its content? From censored news articles to blocked streaming services, governments and corporations limit what you can see. Surfshark unlocks content from over 100 countries so you can browse the web like a citizen of the world. One subscription covers unlimited devices. Plus, Surfshark has a strict no logs policy. Your data isn't logged. It stays yours and yours alone. And here's the cherry on top. Surfshark Alert. It's like a watchdog for your digital identity, scanning for leaked personal information and keeping you ahead of data breaches. Right now, viewers of this channel can get an unbeatable price for an extra 4 months and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Just go to surfshark.com/heretics. Don't risk your safety. Sign up to Surfshark VPN.
How can a layperson such as myself differentiate from fairly afar? This person is a transvestite fetishist who probably had some trauma and gets some arousal and can only get arousal from dressing up that way. And this person is an autistic transsexual.
Well, the autistic transsexuals tended to want to keep a low profile, blend in, not cause a scene, not cause a fuss, and not be too flamboyant about it. Right. Whereas the transvestites were not so much. And there may be clearly something quite erotic about what they're wearing or sexual. And so the sexualized component is more evident. Like Jan Morris said, she just wanted to wear a bangle and a pair of jeans and just have long hair, and that was it. And live quietly in some seaside town or whatever it is. Whereas the transvestites might be more flamboyant. They might be wearing clothes more suitable for a nightclub throughout the day, or sort of sexy lingerie or something. There's something overtly sexualized about it.
So it would be fair to say Eddie Izzard is probably not on the autism spectrum.
I cannot comment on anyone I haven't had any professional dealings with.
Well, that's how I want to ask you about all celebrities and get you to comment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bad luck there.
I've got a friend called Mehdi Mizard, and
the interesting thing about Eddie Izzard, all I'll say is, from what I know from what he said himself, is that he never used to say that he was a transsexual. He always used to say he was a transvestite.
Right.
So now that we call everything trans, it's all an umbrella term, and that calling everything trans is misleading because the majority are transvestite, a small number are transsexual, but they're afforded the same response as if they were all transsexuals. I mean, an example is, I had a patient who said, and he was clearly a transvestite. We knew that he was. We worked that out. He thought he was a transsexual, but we worked out he was more of a transvestite. And he said, I've told everyone at work. I said, what have you told them? He said, I've told them about me. I said, but you're not quite sure about you yet. What have you told them? He said, well, I like dressing up as a woman. And I'm going to go into the office twice a week as a woman. I said, right, why? Oh, because I like it. And I said, well, the thing is, you've got them to believe that you're having a sex change at some point and you're transitioning into being a trans female. Actually, you're a man, you just like dressing up. So what you've managed to do is get your workplace to accommodate your sexual fetish. It's a bit like if you're some sort of sexual nudist, you wouldn't go to work twice a week naked. I mean, but because they're afforded this, this is a, whatever. So it's very misleading for people.
Yeah, like going in and sitting at your office desk in the missionary position because it's just makes me comfortable.
Yeah. And the driving licenses, when they changed where you can change your gender, the rules, they may have changed it now, but when it came out, the rules said as long as you dress up as the opposite sex for 2 weekends a year, you can have your driving license in that sex.
What?
Yeah.
What is going on? And why don't they speak to people like you when they make these decisions?
Well, some did, who knew who I was for those 12 years. And all my regretters and detransitioners said, when we were going through this, why couldn't we access someone who was challenging because my role wasn't to persuade people to do something, help them through it, or convince them not to do it. They were adults. They could do what they want. I just wanted them to think about it in a neutral space. That's all. The outcome for me wasn't whether they did or didn't have a sex change. The outcome for me was they'd thought about it and explored it thoroughly before they did anything. All the regretters, which were 26% of my patient population, they all said, why on earth could we not have someone like you who just said why and what? Because everyone just affirmed them. And what they said was, I had one person who worked for a public sector, of course, and he said he'd had a sex change middle age and then regretted it 10 years later. And he went back to his employer, his family, and his friends, saying, why on earth did you not say to me, what on earth what are you thinking about? What do you mean you're a woman? And they all said, because we were being supportive, because that's what you meant to do. And he said, I wish they weren't supportive. I just wanted them to be normal because I was clearly confused and nobody was challenging it. So they do need challenge, but now you're not allowed to challenge them. You have to affirm them. And the thing about affirmation is it sounds nice because you're affirming, but it's actually quite toxic. It's the worst thing you do. We don't affirm anorexics who believe they should be thinner still. We don't affirm suicidally depressed people that they should be dead. Yet we have people who are confused about something that have come to this erroneous conclusion that we then collude with.